Okay, so this time around, I'm going to be reviewing the discography of System of a Down. Why System of a Down? Even though they haven't done anything in a while, it's because they were supposedly going to. As announced by their bassist, he posted on Twitter, well, are you ready for System thing? And of course, not too long later, Serge was like, no, we're not doing System yet. I still got some solo stuff I gotta work out. Sucks. I like System of a Down. They have some really good albums, and it would have been cool to see them get back together and, you know, make music again, not do Scars on Broadway or the solo stuff or anything like that. It would have been cool to see System just doing what they do best, make music together. I don't know if they do best, but you get what I mean. Their first album released was self-titled, and it's kind of a typical first album. I mean, it's raw, it's heavier than some of their other stuff, but it's really bizarre too. It's got some really interesting stuff. Serge does some really interesting things vocally, like on Darts and Suggestions and Mind. There's really interesting songs. They're experimental for a new metal band. I mean, for a new metal band to come up with something like this that's different than a lot of the new metal bands that were coming out at the time, it was really different, and it's an album that really showcases the band's talent. Like, it's got some of my favorite drum lines, like on P.L.U.K, and the bass, some really heavy bass lines, like on Mind. The opening, that bass line is just heavy. It's heavy. I mean, all of them play great. I mean, of course, Darren, he does some really good guitar work. I mean, this album is spectacular for a first album. And some of the songs are some of the most nonsensical that I've heard of theirs. This album, I don't understand most of what the songs are about, which I kind of like. I mean, I'd like to know what they're about, but I'm not hating myself for not knowing what they're about. Favorite song on the album is Sugar. The second song they released was their most popular, Toxicity, and because it has the song Toxicity, along with Chop Suey, Shimmy was kind of popular, I guess. It has some pretty popular. For good reason. I mean, it's not like Load or Reload by Metallica, which had really no good reason to be popular. I'll get to that when I get to that. But, I mean, this is another great, solid album. But one thing they did, in comparison to the first album, they drew back on some of the experimental sound. Like, Serge really just sings really well on this record. And they also drew back from the drums just slightly, very slightly. I mean, the drums are still solid. Of course, the bass is still amazing along with the guitar. It's got a lot of shorter songs. Like, it's got short bursts of just raw. Like, it has the raw, but it's in short bursts. And I guess it's kind of to compensate for some of the softer tone songs like Chop Suey, which is still awesome. And Aerials, which is another soft-ish song. It's still really heavy and epic. It's solid album. Favorite song off the album is actually Forest. The third album that they released was called Steal This Album, which when I first got into System of a Down, I thought it was their second album, because this album really kind of draws back to that first album's experimentation in the way the songs are constructed. But some of the songs are kind of still Toxicity-ish, and a couple of the songs, like Ego Brain and stuff, some of the later songs in the album are kind of looking towards the future. Like, not necessarily mesmerized, but more hypnotized in the way they are, like Ego Brain. It's got some songs about, I don't know. It's got some of the songs where I'm just like, what? Like Chicken Stew. Is it an I-A-O? Someone knows what Chicken Stew is about watching this, put it in the comments, because I don't know. And same with I-A-A-I-A-O, even though it's really just him talking fast, and I'm too lazy to look at what he's saying. But it's got some of those political songs, both direct and indirect, like symbolistic. Like Boom is he's just talking, basically. Serge is talking for a good bit of the song. And A.D.D is kind of one of those ones. It's not really symbolistic, but it's kind of, it's alluding you to the fact as to what's wrong. And the way the band plays on this album The bass and guitar are still really good. The guitar work, some of the songs reflect back on the first album, along with the drums. And I like that. I mean, it's not that I hate Toxicity's guitar drum. I mean, the guitar work is still amazing, but it's different. Same with the drums. They're just pulled back a little bit on the drums, but they put it back kind of on some of the songs. And if I had to pick a favorite or least favorite album, it'd be this one. Just because, I don't know, it's just my least favorite. But not saying by any means it's a terrible album. I love this album. It's awesome. Favorite song of the album is probably Inner Vision. Either that or A.D.D. Because both those songs are good. Yeah. The next album they recorded was Mesmerize, which is my favorite System of a Down album, and that's because it's their shortest. It's their shortest album. Yeah, it is. But in that shortness, they have a variety of songs. They have, like, the fast songs like Cigaro and BYOB. It's got kind of the, not experimental, but smoother songs like Radio Video. It's got Question, which is like its epic song. It's got a variety of stuff. And it's got Old School Hollywood, which is like one of their songs, I think it's the only song that I can think of that has like a synthesizer in the background, or like whatever's in the opening or whatever. And plus, Darren is pretty forefront on the vocals on this album, and I like that. I mean, he did some songs on the other albums, but I mean, at least he's got Lost in Hollywood, which is a great song. And plus the band just kind of goes forward, playing wise. I mean, the drums are really solid. The bass, some of my favorite Chavo stuff. And it's a great album. Is there anything else I could say besides Question is my favorite song? It's just awesome. And it's a good lead into Hypnotize, because they were recorded at the same time and released just spaced out over a certain set of period of time. They coincide really well with each other, and that's another thing I like about the album. But it's Question is my favorite song. And their last release to this date was Hypnotize, which, if you were to go out on a note, this is a good one to go out on, but hopefully they don't. Hopefully they, sometime in the future, get back together and make awesome music. But this is kind of the softer half of the Mesmerize Hypnotize saga, because some of the songs are a lot softer. But they still have a lot of the heavy songs like Dreaming, like U.F.I.G., which is awesome, and Attack. It's still got the same kind of diversity, but a different kind. This album is pretty experimental, sound-wise, and not in the way that the first album was, but kind of in the way that the late Steal This album was, the late set of the Steal This album. It also kind of, it sets a good stage for where they go off, where they diverge off to. Like, you got songs like Kill Rock and Roll and She's on Heroin, which to me kind of seem like Scars on Broadway songs, and then you have songs like U.F.I.G. and even Hypnotize, which, well, not really Hypnotize. There's another song in here that just kind of sounds like a Serge solo song. And, I mean, it's not that that's a bad thing. It works really well together when they combine them and become System of a Down. It's like talking about the Wonder Twins here, but it is a really good album. It's a good ending to that saga. It ends with Soldier Side, just like Mesmerize started with Soldier Side. It's got Lonely Day, which has a really good solo. I mean, I really like the solo in Lonely Day. It's got songs with random pickbacks up, like Dreaming does, and so did U.F.I.G. In fact, the first time I heard U.F.I.G., the parts where it's like it gets soft and you hear like the guitar, and then it kicks back in with like the fast parts, that scared me the first time. I was like, holy crap! But it's a solid album, and hopefully they make more music in the future. Favorite song off of the album is U.F.I.G.